H.R. 1207, as I remember, Ron Paul's audit the Fed bill. Is the Senate of the United States, the hireling, reprobate U.S. Senate, going to be able to stop that?
Well, I don't know, and we'll have to wait to find out. I want to tell all your listeners to write to your senator and every other senator. Send them an email, right straight to the point. H.R. 1207 in the House is going to be passed. 2 pages of legislation, virtually unchanged. Barney Frank got together with Ron Paul. Mm-hmm. You talk about odd fellows. And they made some technical changes. That's it.
There was a lot of
So, Mr. Senators out there, we want you to vote for this. Because if you don't vote for it, we hope that you never return to office again. Because it's the only thing that's going to save this country financially and economically is to get rid of the Fed. And the people behind government, the shadow government, all these bankers and the people who really control things with campaign contributions and cushy jobs and all of these things that they do to buy these congressmen, and 95% of them are bought. About 3% of them are compromised because of their private lives, and then 2% are good guys and good gals. And we need Senate Bill SB 604. And if you'll do that, you can save your country. And the next thing you want to do is the next election, get rid of as many incumbents as you can.
Well, let me give you
a problem. They're all paid off.
Let me give you a data point, Bob, from this region. A number of my listeners have tried to communicate with the august senator from Utah, Orrin Hatch, and I don't know if they ultimately ended up communicating with his staff. I suspect so, but they got a letter back from the senator or his designated surrogates, and to the effect of he's absolutely not interested in auditing the Fed, that they have done a good job of taking the peaks and valleys out of the business cycle or the boom and bust cycle, and they're doing what they're supposed to do since their inception, which was a constitutional process, and all that other claptrap. He basically says, thanks, no thanks, I'll call you. And seriously, it's a no. It's a no from him, just so you know.
Well, what you do is you find someone to run against him in the primary and hope to get rid of him. Or if he makes it into the file and that wasn't successful, then you back the other candidate. I mean, this guy has done more damage. I've been following his career for years. And he's a nemesis.
Oh, perfect.
And I'm an outsider. I don't live in Utah, and it's really not my place to tell people who live in Utah how and who to vote for, but it's just my opinion. And you got to get rid of people like that who don't care what you think. They're telling the constituents to take a hike. We don't care what you think. We're all paid off by the people in the banking industry and the brokerage and the insurance firms and the transnational corporations who have brought us free trade, globalization, offshoring and outsourcing, ruined our industrial industry. They're the people who are paying these people off with campaign contributions. And that's exactly what it is.
Well, Senator Hatch gets a lot of the public flack, what little there is in Utah, because Utah's very sleepy and trusting, so he doesn't get much. He doesn't get much backlash for the evil he perpetrates, but he does have a silent partner, a more stealth partner, which is Bob Bennett. And really, he had a junior partner, and I don't mean a junior senator, but a congressman by the name of Chris Cannon. And I got to just tell you, Bob, having lived here in the state and watched Mr. Cannon for years do these, the most flagrant kind of in-your-face pro-illegal immigration, pro-open borders types of public gestures and the things he'd say and write, both in writing and in his speeches. And I thought, this is I'm living through a nightmare. This guy could be, trying to institute the Soviet Union here in this country and probably have no back. Finally, I guess he stepped just a little too far, and we got rid of him. But you've got to be you've got to be just about have declared war on the United States to be unseated from a congressional seat in the state of Utah. That's another FYI. I'm sure you're probably aware.
Well, all of these things are building up within our country. You've seen the Tea Parties. You've seen the town hall meetings. You've seen the demonstrations at the G20. And if things don't change in Washington, there will be revolution in the United States. I'm a student of history. I've studied back the last 2,000 years. I speak 5 languages, not including the 4 years of Latin I took in school.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what went on historically. And if the people in Utah and the people in the United States want revolution, they're going to get it. So sit there and do nothing, but I can tell you one thing, get the Cosmoline off your weapons, because you're going to need them.
Nemesis, what a good word. I think I'm gonna label this hour with you, Bob Chapman. I'm gonna name it Nemesis in honor of Orrin Hatch. You've led us right to where I wanted to go in the interview, by the way. Okay, let's say that somehow the Senate is cowed sufficiently so that their version of H.R. 1207 being SB 604 actually becomes law. Now, these perfume princes, these minions of the central banking oligarchs that we call the officers of the Federal Reserve and all the rest of the central banks, they can't just let this happen. They can't have the Federal Reserve excised from the government. What are they likely to do in retaliation, would you say?
They're going to deliberately destroy the system.
What will that?
They've already told us they're going to do that.
What's that going to look like?
That's going to look like it would have looked like anyway, because they've already done destroying it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the American public doesn't understand that yet. And it was all done deliberately. And the reason why, if you noticed in the seamless change from the last administration to this administration, Team A replaced Team B.
Mm-hmm.
All these bureaucrats come from the same place. The Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, and the Bilderberger Group. They're all members or hanger-ons or employees of the Illuminati, and they want world government, and they have deliberately set out to take down the world economy. So it's coming down anyway. So my answer to that, to the likes of Geithner and Bernanke and the people throughout the federal system, I should say the Federal Reserve System, and in government, in a Wall Street, bring it on.
All right, Bob, good place to switch to commercial. We'll be right back with Bob Chapman. Music puts me in the mind of the Continental Army, and the guy's really willing to hang it all out there. Bob Chapman, I sure hope those jeans are still in the gene pool. I was postulating last hour while we were trying to get a hold of you that the country, I have a simple, perhaps, analytical model, but there's 2 main possibilities that I see in our future. One is drift towards full Sovietization, every human activity licensed, monitored, permitted, whatever, or the native cultures, the different cultures that still exist in the United States in different regions will come forward and create resistance, more in some areas, less in others, and we will have some kind of regionalization, regional governments. Do you want to comment on that?
I think there's a good chance of that, but it won't come without interference by the federal government. If you notice, recently in Montana, they brought in foreign mercenaries, which were really from Blackwater, with criminal records and all sorts of bad, murderous people. And the reason they're doing that is because of posse comitatus. You can't use U.S. troops legally. So
yes.
What you do...
Go ahead.
What you do is you bring in foreigners who are patrolling this little city of Hardin, Montana, 3,200 people or 32,000, whichever it is. and they're walking up and down the streets with automatic weapons, and this is what they're trying to do, and it's going to come to that, and Americans, sooner or later, are going to be forced to protect their own lives and property, and it's going to be against foreign troops if the people who control Washington have their way. And this was a trial run. It was stopped. The Attorney General in Montana is investigating it. Nobody knows where the funding is coming from. No one will own up to who did what and how. It's another one of these surreptitious things that government does. But that's where it's all headed. And like I said, well, before we had the break, my answer to the shadow government behind government is that bring it on. This system's going down anyway.